back, listeners, to another deep dive. This time, we're going to tackle a book that needs no introduction, Suzanne Collins' The Hunger Games.
It really is a phenomenon, isn't it?
It is. For episode 2 of Book to Read, we're going to uncover some fascinating layers you might have missed, even if you think you know this dystopian world like the back of your hand.
I'm excited to dive in.
Me too.
Oh.
And to help us explore those deeper layers, I've brought in, well, an expert in dystopian lit and, social commentary and all that.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Now The Hunger Games drops us right into the action. From page 1, we're in District 12 with Katniss. And let me tell you, it's not exactly a picnic, is it?
No, not at all. Collins doesn't sugarcoat anything. The poverty, the oppression, it's all right there.
It's brutal.
Those descriptions of the seam, the coal dust, the constant hunger, it just paints such a vivid picture of desperation.
Totally. And that desperation, it drives Katniss to, break the law, to hunt in the Forbidden Forest.
Exactly. It's a matter of survival for her and her family.
And then you've got the contrast with the merchant class.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
It's like Madge, the mayor's daughter.
Right. She lives in the same district, but it's a completely different world.
Totally different. And Collins uses that contrast so well to highlight the inequality.
Absolutely. It's a subtle but powerful way to draw parallels to real-world issues. How systems of power create these divisions.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a system like that could ever really be stable, how long can you keep people oppressed before things, explode?
That's a great question. And speaking of pressure, the reaping itself is just masterfully done.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife, even if you know what's coming.
It's one of those scenes that makes your heart pound every time.
Definitely. And that feeling is just amplified by, the unfairness of the Tesserae system.
Right. Imagine being so desperate for food
Right.
that you have to enter your name multiple times in this deadly lottery.
It's just heartbreaking. And it shows how the capital preys on the vulnerability of the poor.
And then in the middle of all that chaos, we have Katniss volunteering for Panem.
Ugh, that moment.
Chills. It's such a powerful act of self-sacrifice.
It's incredible. You see her love for her sister, her determination, and there's this defiance, this refusal to let the capital win.
Such a turning point. And it all centers around this one girl from District 12.
Oh.
Talk about a symbol, right? And speaking of symbols, that Mockingjay pin.
Oh, yeah, that Mockingjay pin. It takes on a whole new meaning as the story goes on.
It starts as a symbol of her district, but it becomes so much more.
It's hope, it's rebellion, it's Katniss herself.
It really is. Collins is so good at layering meaning into the narrative that Mockingjay, it's not just a bird, it's a rallying point for those who dare to challenge the capital. And then, of course, we're thrown into the games themselves, this brutal spectacle of survival.
Where alliances shift and betrayals are everywhere.
And the competition is just fierce. It's like a microcosm of the power dynamics in Panem.
You've got the career tributes who are basically bred for this. They represent the established order.
And then you have tributes like Katniss and Rue, who are relying on their instincts, their resourcefulness.
They're the underdogs fighting against the odds, and Katniss, her resourcefulness is incredible.
It is. She's using Tracker Jacker venom. She's camouflaging herself, setting traps.
It's like she becomes one with the arena, using her knowledge of nature to survive.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, if you were in a situation like that, what skills would you use? What would you rely on?
It's a good thought experiment.
It is. And it reminds me of how, in the real world, people connect and share their skills in different ways. Like on Bookspace, you can connect with people who share your love of reading, discover new authors, new genres.
Yeah, that's a great platform. I love how you can organize your digital library there.
Right. And those AI-powered recommendations are spot on.
They really are. It's like having a personal book concierge.
Seriously. But okay, back to the Hunger Games. We can't forget about PETA and the whole star-crossed lovers thing.
Oh, yeah, that adds a whole other layer of complexity.
Definitely. It blurs the lines between genuine affection and, strategy.
On the one hand, you see these genuine moments between them. They rely on each other, they care for each other.
But then you have to wonder how much of it is for the cameras.
It's a tough question. How much of it is real, especially in that environment?
It makes you think about how we decipher what's real, in our own lives.
Absolutely. It's a theme that resonates beyond the arena.
And that's one of the things that makes the Hunger Games so brilliant. Okay, so the alliances, the betrayals, they shape so much of the games.
Totally.
Katniss is navigating this web of relationships with PETA, with Haymitch.
Right, and then there's Rue.
Oh, Rue. That little girl from District 11.
Their relationship is so powerful, and it really highlights the moral dilemmas of the games.
Like, how do you stay human in a game where trust can be a weakness?
Exactly.
And then, of course, we have Rue's death. Ugh, it's just
Heartbreaking.
such a turning point for Katniss, emotionally, and in how she views the games.
It shows the true cost of this whole spectacle.
The cost of entertainment for the Capitol.
Right. But it also fuels Katniss's defiance.
Totally. Her tribute to Rue, the flowers, the song, it's a powerful act of rebellion.
It's a moment that transcends the games themselves. It speaks to our shared humanity, our need for compassion.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, those connections, those acts of kindness, they matter. They're powerful. And speaking of connections, have you ever used Bookspace to connect with other Hunger Games fans?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a great way to discuss those key moments, the characters that stay with you.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual book club.
Yeah.
Where you can really dive deep into the themes, the symbolism.
And you can connect with people who understand just how powerful these stories are.
Exactly. It's a community of book lovers.
And a great way to expand your reading horizons, too.
For sure. It's like a personalized reading list curated by people who get you.
Yeah.
But, okay, back to the arena. After Rue's death, things change for Katniss.
Yeah, she becomes even more determined.
More focused. And definitely not afraid to take risks.
You see a steely resolve in her. She's not just reacting anymore, she's strategizing.
She's a warrior. Like when she blows up the career tribute supplies.
That was a bold move.
It was. It shows the Capitol she's not playing their game anymore.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
And then there's the feast. Oh, man. That scene.
So intense.
She's injured. Chloe's about to finish her off.
It's a nail-biter. It reminds us how quickly things can change in the arena.
And how dangerous it is.
For sure.
And just when it seems like all hope is lost, Thresh shows up.
That was a twist no one saw coming.
And he spares her because of her kindness to Rue.
It's amazing. It's like this ray of light in the darkness.
It shows that even in the arena, even in that brutality, there's still room for empathy.
You're right. It makes you think about the ripple effects of our actions, how a small act of kindness can have unexpected consequences.
It's a powerful message. But the fight's not over yet. With Clove gone, Cato becomes even more dangerous.
And don't forget about Foxface.
Oh yeah, Foxface. She's been playing a quiet but deadly game.
She's like a ghost, moving through the arena, staying under the radar.
But as the game shrinks, her options are running out.
And that leads us to the final showdown at the cornucopia.
Oh man, that scene, it's like something out of a nightmare, those mutated creatures.
The wolf mutts.
Yeah, the wolf mutts. With those human eyes. Terrifying.
It's a chilling reminder of how far the Capitol will go to entertain the masses, even if it means twisting life and death into something monstrous.
And Cato's end. Gruesome. It's a brutal reminder of what the games do to people.
There are no real winners, only survivors.
And just when you think Katniss and Peeta have secured their victory, the game makers change the rules.
I know, it's a total betrayal.
It's like they're saying, we control your fate no matter what. And it leaves Katniss and Peeta with this impossible choice.
They'd rather die on their own terms than be pawns in the Capitol's game. That moment with the Nightlock berries, it's a cliffhanger that leaves you breathless. What happens next? Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into the shocking conclusion of The Hunger Games and explore the lasting impact of this dystopian masterpiece. Welcome back to our deep dive into The Hunger Games, picking up right where we left off. Katniss and Peeta facing those insane odds.
Down to the wire,
That's
right? And things are looking grim. But they've got this. They have to. Katniss has that, what is it? She never gives up.
That resilience. Yeah, she's resourceful, adaptable, and she's got that whole star-crossed lovers thing going for her. At least with the Capitol audience.
Yeah, true. But how long can they keep that up? Especially with, Cato on the loose. He's like a, what do you call it?
A force of nature.
Yeah, like a force of nature. And Peeta's injured. It's incredible they've made it this far.
It really is. And their relationship, it keeps developing, even in the chaos. Remember when Peeta tells Katniss she can kiss him whenever?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're supposed to be in love. It's funny, but, also kind of sad. Because you can see how much he cares, even if it started as a strategy.
Yeah, their dynamic is so, layered, isn't it? Trying to survive, figuring out their feelings, all while playing to the cameras.
Exactly. And then the game makers throw in the feast, knowing they're all desperate.
Oh yeah, that feast, that's like peak tension, right?
Totally. They want a confrontation, more drama for the Capitol audience.
And they get it right. That scene where Clove attacks Katniss.
Oh, man, I felt that.
It's so brutal. It's scary how quickly things change. Like that backpack, just a normal backpack,
A
but
deadly weapon.
it's a good reminder of how dangerous the games are. And then Thresh. Talk about a twist.
It was incredible. He could have killed her, but he spared her.
Because of Rue.
Because of Rue, yeah.
Yeah.
It really shows that human connection, even in a place like that. That even there, kindness matters.
And loyalty. That bond they had. It's
Mm.
powerful. Yeah, it's like a little bit of hope. But they're not out of the woods yet. Cato's still out there, even more dangerous now.
Right. And Foxface. Don't forget about her.
She's easy to forget. She's so quiet, but she's smart. A real survivor. She's been playing this strategic game, staying hidden, scavenging.
Like a ghost. But as the game gets smaller, her options are running out.
Which brings us to, well, the cornucopia.
Oh, man, that's intense.
It's terrifying. Those wolf mutts with those human eyes. Talk about nightmare fuel. And the fact that they're the fallen tribute.
I know, it's messed up. It's like even in death, the Capitol controls them.
Yeah, it really shows how twisted the whole thing is.
Yeah.
And Cato, how he dies.
It's awful.
It's a reminder that there are no winners.
Just survivors.
Right. And then, the game makers. They take it even further, changing the rules after they promised.
It's crazy.
It's like a slap in the face. Leaving Katniss and Peeta with this impossible choice.
Die by the Capitol's rules or...
Or die on their own terms.
Yeah. The Nightlock berries. What a powerful moment.
I know. It's like they're saying, no, we won't be controlled.
We choose our own fate.
It is cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Right. What happens next? Will they do it? Will the Capitol back down? What happens to Katniss and Peeta? We'll dive into all that in part 3, the shocking conclusion of The Hunger Games, and we'll explore why this book still matters so much. Okay, so that cliffhanger, the Nightlock berries, did they actually, yeah.
I know, right? It was such a tense moment. But remember, we're waiting for those trumpets, right? The trumpets of victory.
Yeah.
They finally sound, but not how we expect. The game makers, they change their minds. They declare Katniss and Peeta both victors.
Wow. So they back down?
They had to. I mean, can you imagine the fallout if those two had died on live TV?
Yeah, that would have been bad.
The Capitol are obsessed with image, right? They have to maintain control.
Even if it means bending their own rules.
Exactly. But even though they're safe, they're whisked away to the Capitol. And that's where things get really interesting.
What do you mean?
Think about it. They've just been through this traumatic experience. Katniss especially. She's trying to process everything. And she's constantly being watched, manipulated by Haymitch and Effie.
To keep up appearances.
Yeah, the Capitol wants to use their love story to, distract everyone, to keep the districts in line.
So they're still playing a role.
It's like one arena for another, right?
And Katniss, she's starting to realize the impact of her actions. On Gale, back in District 12, it's weighing on her.
She's struggling with the consequences, the lines between reality and performance.
It makes you think, about our own lives. How much of what we see is real? Social media, reality TV, it's also curated.
You're right. It's important to question everything.
Think for ourselves.
Exactly. And the Hunger Games, it makes us do that. It makes us think about power, about control, and about what we're willing to fight for.
The games themselves, they're like a symbol, right? Of how the Capitol controls the districts, keeping them divided, scared.
Yeah, but we also see the seeds of rebellion. Katniss defying the Capitol, the uprising in District 11. It's all there.
So even though Katniss and Peeta won, the fight's not over.
Not at all. The
Yeah.
Capitol might have won this round, but
Yeah.
they've awakened something. They've shown the districts what's possible.
And that's why the ending is so perfect. It's not a happy ending, not really. It's more like a beginning.
It leaves you with this sense of unease, like something big is coming.
A warning, maybe. Like, the fight's never truly over.
And that's what makes this book so powerful. It stays with you. It makes you think about the world, about your place in it.
The Hunger Games, it's more than just a story. It's a reflection of our own anxieties. About power, about control, about justice.
And if you want to keep exploring those themes, connect with other readers who get it, I recommend checking out the Bookspace app.
It's a great community for book lovers. But for now, that wraps up our deep dive into The Hunger Games. We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, happy reading.